Nothing amazing ever happens here. Everything is ordinary. Today is the last day of the second semester. We're letting out for Christmas break soon, yet as always I still end up finding myself getting into trouble for something I didn't even do. Apparently a kid spray painted something on the walls outside, and that's not really something I do, but I got blamed for it anyways. Obviously it's some bullshit bias, and while I could blame it on many things, not only would we be here all day if I listed them, it's not like anyone's gonna be listening to me anyways. But hey, as a commentator, sometimes I guess I feel obligated to try. So we find me trying to convince my teacher that it wasn't me. Look, I'm trying to say you've got the wrong kid, okay? I don't even own a can of spray paint. If I did, what would I use it for? I have better things to do. I do commentaries. You've got to be saying this wrong or something. This was 4th period, right? I can tell you for sure I was in E-Hall. I was in the bathroom like I always am. Wait, forget I said that one. What? Sure, but I'm telling you, it wasn't me. Even if you know it probably wasn't even me? I hate school. Besides that, I'm not really in the mood to make another commentary. I mean, yeah, I know what I said earlier, but I don't know. It's just that I can't really stay focused on them right now. You know, it is nothing. Extra credit is extra credit after all. No, you're not. You're obviously just gonna hang out in there and do whatever teachers do. I have no parents to report to. You know that, don't you? Sure. And that's how I got here in detention, because school is bullshit. Whatever though, I guess I should actually watch the video. I mean, I'd like some extra credit after all. With that being said, roll the intro while I check over the video. Alright, so context goes something like this. In February 2017, MatPat of the Game Theorist has made a game theory video regarding Undertale and the theory of who is W.D. Gaster. However, that's actually not important at all, because the actual focus of the video is what MatPat states at the start of the video. See, at the start of that video, MatPat decides to briefly talk about the hate and criticism surrounding a few of his prior Undertale videos, specifically Sans' Nest and his video about when he met the Pope and gave him Undertale. Now, cue 3 years later and meet Lindata. They did a commentary on that section of the video, and that's all you need to know about what we're covering here. So without further ado, let's do something here. I don't know, I don't have a catchphrase or anything like that.
The first was Sans' Nest, a theory I was so excited to share with you. In fact, it was one of, if not my favorite episode that we had done of game theory to date, because it allowed me an opportunity to talk about one of my favorite franchises growing up, Earthbound, as well as one of my favorite modern franchises of Undertale. And it was a fun episode. Now, don't get me—
Small point here, sure, but I just want to say how you emphasize how that it is a fun episode. When you actually watch the video, one of the final points that you make in that video was a fan game that Toby Fox had made about Earthbound. And considering how dark the Earthbound Halloween hack was, and how that seemed to be, at least in the way that you were describing it at the time, as your strongest piece of evidence, do you honestly think that that's fun to talk about? Not really. I get that it's something that you're passionate about, but still.
I mean, really, I think it depends on the subject matter and what the audience or MatPat finds fun at the end of the day. Really, I don't know whether MatPat was referring to whether or not it was fun to make or fun to watch, but if he meant it was fun to make, then I should point out, just because dark subject matter is covered doesn't inherently make it not fun to make a video about. Even then, if that was the case, as you say, he only talks about this stuff at the end. I mean, the rest of the video could have made up for that, for all you know. Now, if the video wasn't fun to watch because it discusses a dark game, well, again, as you say, that's near the end of the video, so it could be a case of everything up to that point point being fun. But either way, just because a video goes over a dark piece of media doesn't make it inherently not fun to watch. Now, depending on the subject matter, that could be the case, but given you don't clarify what about the subject matter is dark, I'm not really too sure where to take your point. Look, this is the first point, and I've already found definitive proof that my teacher fucking hates me. That and Makoto Nijima is definitely worse Persona 5 girl.
But didn't you use her as an avatar a year ago?
Look, I like to pretend that video didn't exist, okay? Can't I appreciate Futaba in peace?
Wrong. Did I in any way think that this was canon lore to the series? No. Of course not. I didn't think that Sans is actually Ness. But at the end of the day, these are theories meant to get you to think about things from a different perspective. And let's be honest here, there are a lot of similarities between Earthbound and Undertale, okay? From visual design to actual sound effects to even the timelines of the games. But the
Okay, so essentially this part seems to be you just covering your ass because, quite frankly, you had made a video that was so unbelievably bad that it was blatantly comical, to the point that your points were either delivered extremely poorly, or, like in the case with Starman being compared to Papyrus because of the pixels on its chest, made very little sense to people. Just own up to what you had done wrong. You had done wrong in your video, and it made it seem like this was just a video you made to cash in on the trend that Undertale was, like, actually being at that point. Because Undertale was quite the trendy game, with a lot of trendy memes and stuff like that, so it would get a lot of attention to your channel. And because of that, it seemed like you had just completely rushed out your video, not looking it over, no proofreading the script, nothing like that. Then you just go on to say that it's to get you to think about it from a different perspective. Sure, yeah, from a perspective that doesn't really make all too much sense, given how much your points actually made sense.
You know, I'll go more into this during the final thoughts, but jeez Malise, dude, there is so much filler dialogue here. Do you have a script or not? Because your wording feels so sloppily put together. There really could have been better ways to word this that would have gotten the point across without taking 30 whole seconds. Though with that being said, moving on to the main issue I had with this point, really at the end of the day, all MatPat is really doing is just saying the video was done for fun and didn't really make this video with the intent of making the claim Sans was 100% Ness. Is he really covering his ass? I feel this is just how you see it, and while that's not invalid, I don't really think you should put this forward definitively like that. Like, let's be extremely clear, most of the criticism I found regards to that video wasn't in regards to things not making sense. It was mostly just about the absurdity of the review and how MatPat more or less outright ignored points that would disprove his point. And while that last bit does make me believe this video comes as a bit disingenuous, I do understand that he himself said he himself didn't make the video with the intention of actually proving Sans was Ness, and he made the video, like a lot of others, with the idea of showing people a different perspective at looking at the game.
I have gotten used to dealing with internet hate over the years. I've gotten through the Sonic is Slow controversy. I've had literal petitions written to remove me from the internet for slandering Mario's name by calling him a sociopath, but this one hurt. But it was nothing.
Looking at the examples you gave here of the Sonic is Slow and the sociopathic Mario videos, those videos were extremely poorly done. They were extremely flawed. The points were either delivered poorly or just didn't make any sense. So, as you can see, we're just looping here. It's basically making the exact same points over and over again, what I'm doing here. Those videos were inherently flawed, and yet you're using that as a way to guilt trip people so that they have more sympathy for your case here.
Okay, look, I recognize that he's not taking into account that those videos aren't really that good, or as far as I know, the Sonic video, since that's the only one I've really seen firsthand, but why would this really be him trying to cover his ass? Sure, he never confirmed these videos were bad, but he never denied it either. Look, don't assume the worst out of somebody. That's why I'm in this situation. Seriously, fuck school.
Amen to that and all, bro, but what the fuck are you even doing over there?
Oh, well, you see, I'm doing this thing you'd call a slideshow commentary. Son of a fucking bitch!
Slideshow. Okay, I don't see how this is a slideshow, but that's cool.
Watch your Tempest then. The motherfucker literally uses Microsoft slideshow shit.
The fuck was that damage, my guy? Oh!
Compared to the next time I talked about Undertale on the channel, when I was selected for the honor of meeting Pope Francis as one of the first 10 digital creators to introduce him to the world of online video. And as part of that, we were expected to give him a gift. So I gave him a copy of Undertale and then made a video talking about that. One, because it was such a huge honor for me, but two, because I was excited to share it with you. This was our achievement as a theorist community, as gamers, as online digital creators, and people who love online things. And the hate that video received in the first week. I mean, this was a video where I specifically talk about accepting others and saying no to hating other groups of people, and it got hate. You gotta love the internet sometimes, man.
People are allowed to voice their opinion on whether or not your video was good or bad. And if the criticism is as invalid as you try to prove it is later after you cut back in, then is there really much of a point to respond to it? Not really.
You literally have no room to talk. You are making a commentary video. And yeah, I get they just said if the points being made were as invalid as they were, but when we get there, what we'll see from MatPat is that the points aren't even really on a level where they're so invalid they aren't even worth pointing out. MatPat points out that a lot of the points being thrown at him were people not even paying attention to what he was saying. For example, he points out how people claimed he talked about gamer problems, when in actuality he talked about cyberbullying, and he also made a point about why giving the Pope Undertale wasn't as bad as people made it out to be. Especially given how widespread the criticism these videos got happened to be, I can't agree with the idea that arguing against it wasn't worth his time.
Like, of course the Pope isn't going to play a video game, but 3, if you thought that the gift of a video game was bad and had problems with that one, at least it was better than a surfboard, an illegal tree, and a YouTuber's self-written book about themselves. All things that the Pope also received as gifts that day. Which leads me to number...
Dude, the reason why people had a problem with your video is that you would make an extremely full-length video on the subject about meeting the Pope and what gift you gave him, instead of, you know, just putting it in the outro like you have with other announcements, because, yeah, like, I can understand if you were really proud of the situation, but you did not need to make, like, a full-length video about it, when you could have just tacked it onto the end of another video and actually gave your fans an actual theory to watch. Not only that, but also just egging on the people that were also there at the same time. Yeah, you seemed so proud to be there.
Okay, so I'm just gonna add this to the list of things that may or may not have happened at all. You know, actually, that is one thing I've really noticed about this video. Like, where's any of the proof that to the very least this was criticism given in regards to this video or that video? I get that you could have first-hand experience, but your first-hand experience always just so happens to be just a little bit different than what I find when I do actual research. Like, look, I went to Know Your Meme, and for the most part, the major criticisms have absolutely nothing to do with MatPat's fans being uninterested in the video. Actually, in fact, looking at MatPat's video, that video only has 20k dislikes, which given the 200k likes, I don't really think the fans were too concerned about not getting a theory that day. Sure, that's not always the be-all, end-all for proof, but it at least gives an idea of how people felt about it. Also, continuing my search of the Know Your Meme, it seems the majority of the criticism was just down to MatPat giving the Pope Undertale and how he apparently just talked about gamer problems. Not exactly what you happen to be talking about. As far as I'm concerned, that happened in some sort of filler arc because it never actually happened.
4. Yes, obviously other games talk about peaceful solutions before Undertale, but geez, I liked the game, it was recent at the time, and it was the Pope's Year of Mercy. I don't know if you've noticed, but the word mercy appears a whole heck of a lot in Undertale. And last...
Two things to say here. One, yes, that was literally a point that you had made in your last Undertale video about it being the Pope's Year of Mercy. You had already stated that, and everyone had already heard that point. You do not need to reiterate it for the sake of it.
Listen, Lindata, you do know that not everyone watches literally every single MatPat video he's ever made. I'm a little too busy trying to figure out who left this video out, because I just want to have a little talk with them. But actually, before I ensue violence, my main point here is that while, yeah, he did say that in a previous video, he brought it up again to defend his reason for giving the game to the Pope. Just because he did it doesn't mean he can't do it again. Okay? He's not exactly bringing this up for the sake of it, you know.
And also, number 2, the game was recent at the time. That's probably why you posted it to YouTube as its entire video, because you didn't even need to think of a new theory. You could just ride off of the fact that Undertale was new at the time and therefore popular.
You know what? I'm about to say it. I'm about to say it.
Say it.
I don't think this point matters in the long run. I get it, you think MatPat did it for views and shit, yada yada, can I go home now? This actually makes me want to finish my other commentary I was supposed to do. Actually, good idea. I'm gonna pretend the rest of this video doesn't exist and go home.
Hey, that's not allowed. Don't make me get the teacher on you.
Who the fuck are you, my mom? The fuck are you even still doing here? Go home, it's 3:40. Detention's over, dumb shit.
Hey, don't need to be rude about it, you fucking douchebag.
Oh, but I did say I'd do final thoughts, though. Alright, look. Lindata, something about this video doesn't really sit well with me. Something about it just isn't right. There's something in this video that I feel absolutely ruins every point in this video, but I can't remember the word I'm looking for. What is that word? Right, that, Donka. But I still do have other issues with this video that I didn't bring up myself. For example, the editing in this video is so damn sloppy. I don't care much about editing within commentaries, like the bare minimum is okay. Very few avatar pics, yeah, that's fine. Black borders, yeah, have those. But it's the aspects of the video, such as your avatar barely changing in sync with your sentences, the video always awkwardly cutting back in, pauses where you say nothing, that time the screen went black for like a second. There is such a large lack of polish with the video's visuals that it's honestly pretty jarring. The way you word things in this video is also a thing I'm not too big on. I stated this earlier, but I'm going to bring this up again. You really need to work on condensing what you're going to say. And if you don't use scripts, you should probably write those for your videos. Your points come off as unnecessarily long and nonsense like that. Really, that bias against MatPat, which led to a lot of your points not being right, and the lack of polish with the video are my two major points against this video. Otherwise, that's all I'm going to say. I'm done here. Punishment over. Miss Clareville, I'm gone. Can I just go home now? Shit, I forgot! Ugh! Then this whole video was pointless then! Yeah, I learned nothing. No? Don't get Sultanbach? Sultanbach? Fuck it. Nothing ever happens here. Everything is ordinary. I say that to myself like I usually do. But today I do wonder, am I lying to myself? I don't really feel like everything is ordinary anymore. And if it is now, it ain't gonna be when school starts again. I just feel it. Nothing is ordinary. It never will be.